Hi, I'm the minister from Deep Hoops.
And I'm Rob, the straw that stirs the drink.
And we'd like to thank you for being a part of our Deep Hoops family. We are enjoying doing what we're doing with Deep Hoops, but we need your help. If you are watching us on YouTube, we need you to subscribe. If you're following, or if you're doing it on Facebook, if you're watching us on Facebook, we need you to like us. But more importantly than all of that, we need you to share it. We need you to blast this out there so people can understand what you're enjoying and enjoy it with you. We're having a ball doing it, and we always say that we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game that we love, and we want to talk about it with you. So subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, share the link, be a part of it. We're going to give you, during the show, our Instagram and our, what's the other one? Twitter
names.
Tweet us, hit us, do whatever it is that you do. But be a part of this Deep Hoops family, man. We're having a good time, and we'd like to see what you think of Deep Hoops. Ra, tell Eric Mapp, tell Beefy, tell John Bailey, tell them to, get with this, man.
Just share the information, pass it along. We're here for you as well. We love to entertain. We love to enlighten and inform others. And as the minister said, we're not experts. We're just passionate fans, and we just love the game. And we love you guys too. So please, just pass along the information. And your comments are welcome. Your thoughts, questions. Nothing is off limits. Nothing is off the table. By all means, give us your comments. We will entertain them, try to address them, I should say. And please tune in.
Ravenswood for life. Ravenswood for life. Antioch Baptist Church. Yo, we'll talk at your piece.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game.
If you're looking for the best basketball talk in the universe, you just found it. This is Deep Hoops, where fans are the host. Tim Brayboy, Troy Ramel Royal, and me, your point guard, Jehudi. We're talking basketball, all basketball, and nothing but basketball. So sit back and enjoy the best basketball talk in the podcast universe. This is Deep Hoops.
Welcome to a new episode of Deep Hoops. I am the minister.
And I'm Rob, the straw that stirs the drink.
And we don't know where Tim Brayboy is. I don't think he's in China. I think they revoked his passport. I don't know where he is, man. I don't know where he is.
He didn't renew it.
He didn't renew it. No, they revoked it. They took it back. They said, we don't want you here no more. Listen, there's been a lot going on in the NBA, so no more foolishness. We want to get right to it because we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game that we love. We just had the NBA trade deadline. Now, Rob, hate to throw you under the bus, but on this last show, you said, it's going to be slow. I don't see anything. Wow, you couldn't have been more wrong, dude.
Hey, first of all, to the NBA sports world out there, or basketball fans, I owe you all an apology. The last time we did a show, I said, and I when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I said that it's going to be a very quiet trade deadline.
Ooh.
It was loud.
It was loud. Chris Eccleston, it was loud. You know what I'm talking about.
It actually was a record setting. I believe it was either 54 or 58 players that was traded.
Right. Wow.
And that's not even including draft picks that was moved around. So you have 58 literally players.
Live bodies, right.
Moving around. I think it was something like 19 trades in all.
Unbelievable.
There's some trades that won't be mentioned because they were small trades.
Right.
Little cash considerations and things of that nature. But there were some trades with some
let's dissect. But I want to do it this way. Most people will ask this question at the end. I want to ask it at the beginning. Who was the winner and who was the loser in the making trades by the trade deadline?
For me, the winner of it all had to be Philadelphia.
Okay.
I think, and keep in mind, they made the first trade of the season
Right.
with Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have thought that was enough. But then they pulled off like 3 different trades that netted them in one trade: Tobias Harris, Mike Scott, Bobian. Then they turned around and got Ennis out of Houston Rockets, a nice not a 3-and-D, but a nice wing guy that plays some defense. And then the Shaka trade, they found a taker for Markelle Fultz. And now,
Which is good for him.
Which is good for
I
him.
think he needed a new place.
Yeah, but they traded him to Orlando, and in return, they did get a first-round pick, a second-round pick, but more importantly, a name that many may not remember or forgotten or just don't know. They got back Jonathan Simmons, that at one time, they were looking at him playing alongside of Kawhi Leonard in San Antonio, and I think that he got buried or forgotten about on a bad team.
Right.
And I think coming to Philly, he probably gonna get back to some of those ways.
He's going to play to the level
Right.
of his contemporaries.
What Elton Brand has done as a first-year GM, I mean, right now he's still in the headlines.
And what about Elton Brand? You know, we often give Duke boys a hard way to go. Okay, not just us. I mean, the media, everyone gives Duke a hard way to go. They don't produce superstars, and he had a solid career. Not a great career, but a solid career. But he may be the next coming of Jerry West in the way that he's making deals.
The one thing about the Duke players, you know, over the history, they draft good guys. You could almost say good boys.
Right.
You know, and when you look at just to name a few, Elton Brand, the position he has now, Jay Billis, what he's done with college basketball for ESPN, Jay Williams, he's doing the same thing. Grant Hill, now part owner of the Atlanta Hawks, and he's been doing commentary
Danny Ferry.
for a while. Danny Ferry. So they have a little resume with some of their ball players going on and taking some positions, even becoming college coaches. Like Adderley Hammock, I think his name. He was the coach of Princeton. Then you had the other guy that was a coach. I can't think. He was another college coach. And the guy from Alaska, Trout Landon, he's actually in the front office with the Brooklyn Nets.
Wow.
So there's a lot of success that's going on that these Duke players or former players, they're in positions.
They're in positions, and I mean, you know, right now, we have to look at Danny Ferry did a great job when he was with Atlanta until he made a little bit of African in him, and he's never been able to live that down. And he's an assistant GM where?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's an assistant GM, and they'll come to me. He's an assistant GM.
I thought he was out of the league.
No, he's an assistant GM. He's in New Orleans. He's behind, what's his name in New Orleans? Dell Demps.
I haven't heard his name in a while.
Yeah, I heard it the other day. But I mean, what Elton Brand has done is second to none in the draft. So who's your loser?
Speaking of Dell Demps, nice segue.
He had it on the table. He had a gift wrap.
Talk about an alley-oop. Let me just
boom.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Did they do the right thing in my eyes? Yes. But will they be a loser, or are they the loser? Yes. And I'll tell you why I believe they're a loser. They're gonna have to trade Anthony Davis. And I think their best package was now, because the Lakers can't afford to get into a bidding war with Boston. However, if they wait till the summertime and they know that they got to trade him, I think the offers are going to scale back.
Yeah, I mean, Magic is not going to put on the table what he had on the table.
No.
You know, that's how negotiation works. That was the deal by 3 p.m. on Tuesday.
And it was the Godfather deal. You got 6 players and 2 draft picks. I think they won't see anything equivalent.
Demps is going to be on the phone. I want those 4 players. I'm ready to do the deal. What 4 players?
Now,
Magic is going, what 4 players?
So, to me, they're going to lose, not because they didn't make the deal, because when they do make the deal, they're going to get less players.
They're going to get less. What they had, I mean, honestly, I don't know what the Lakers were thinking. They were going to be the big losers. I mean, even if they had made the deal, I would have saw them as a loser, at least for this season. They would not have been a loser for the totality of his contract. But for this season, who are they going to put on the floor with LeBron and Anthony Davis?
It'd have been straight buyout market.
Straight
buyout market. And the thing is this, they could have been a loser even time to come, because if they didn't get the third star in the offseason, if they strike out in the offseason, now you're stuck with LeBron and Davis.
So what is it, in your opinion? I'm going to segue a little bit away from the draft, and we'll come back to it. What is it, in your opinion, that makes LeBron such a toxic player to play with? Why is it that superstars don't want to play with him? I have my opinion, and I've said it a million times. I want to get yours.
I really think that LeBron has it whenever he addresses the media, that when his team wins, it's about him. And when the team loses, he's done his part, and that's everybody else's fault. And I don't think anybody wants to be around that. Not only that, just like he was chasing maybe Kobe or chasing Jordan, these other stars are chasing him. Mm-hmm. So
don't help him get more titles.
They don't want to help him if they're en route to chase him. You know, I mean, I don't think LeBron would have played with Kobe Bryant because he was chasing him. Mm-hmm. I don't think LeBron would have played with Jordan because he's chasing him. So I don't see Kevin Durant playing with LeBron because he's chasing LeBron. When he beat LeBron in the finals, he said to him, "You was the one guy that I needed to beat."
Right.
And now he has an opportunity to tie him this year with 3 rings, and maybe even stay to get a 4th ring if he chooses to stay and go to stay.
So you're jumping ahead. Before we go to Durant, I'm going to ask you this. There was another trade that when it happened, people talked about, but after watching them for the first, literally from the first time, from tip to final buzzer, I had not watched it, that team, from tip to final buzzer until the other night after the trade deadline, and they picked up Mirotic. Milwaukee, that little pickup with someone that can also stretch the floor as a power forward, and you have Lopez stretching the floor as a power forward. Bledsoe is playing. I've been the biggest Bledsoe dissenter. I don't feel that he was a starting point guard. I thought he was a secondary point guard. But the way he's playing, Budenholzer has that team playing lights out, and they add a Mirotic. What do you think about that add?
Definitely one of the better moves. I think Milwaukee did probably what they did in the summertime. Mm-hmm. Clearly, in the summertime, the LeBron signing was the biggest catch. But I always thought that Budenholzer was the second biggest signing in the summertime. Mm-hmm. And although I think what Philly did was the best at the trade deadline, I think that was the second best move at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. It's picking up Mirotic, and what that does, and Budenholzer can coach, what that does for Milwaukee is keep Game 7 on their court. Throughout the playoffs. As long as they remain, they will have Game 7 at their court.
And I think as long as they remain. And the Mirotic does do that. Some of the teams that were building for the future that were a part of the trade deadline, the Knicks and the Clippers. Now, I know the Knicks have enough money for 2 max players. I think the Clippers freed up enough so that they can be 2 max players. So tell me what you think about those moves, and then give me the teams that are eligible for that have enough money, a flexibility for 2 max players.
Well, actually, the Knicks and the Clippers are the only ones that have money for 2 max players.
So the Lakers don't have it?
They don't have money for 2 max players.
Wow.
And what happens, a lot of the Lakers' young players are still under contract. You're looking at Ingram and you're looking at Ball. Between them, they'll probably take up about $14 million. Hart, Kuzma, they're probably getting about $7 million. So right there is 22 with LeBron's 35 plus. You know, they only have room for just one max player. They don't have room for two. Even though they have those expiring contracts, they only really have room for one. But the Clippers, you know, here's the thing. I was listening.
Wait, Brooklyn, don't they have enough money for two?
Brooklyn started the season with money for two, but Spencer Dinwiddie has played lights out.
And they did a renewal of his
during the season. And by re-upping him at 3 years for $30 million, believe it or not, that $10 million has taken away from that. So they're like a max player and maybe 60% of another max player.
Would you have done that?
I think that it was a good move because he earned it. And if they'd have waited to the end of the season, they probably would have gotten into a big move. Now, they could have promised him something and signed everybody else and then went over the cap to keep him. Now, I think they can afford to go over the cap because I get a chance to watch some of the Brooklyn games. It's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it literally is sold out. There's standing room.
And they're playing good ball.
And they're playing good ball.
Well coached.
He's probably not going to be anywhere near the top of the list, but Kenny Atkinson deserves some Coach of the Year votes. He should come in maybe top 5.
And honestly, I'm going to agree with him because he's not stirring the drink right now. That is not hyperbole. I mean, no, he is really coaching some.
He's doing a tremendous job over there. I mean, think about this. D'Angelo Russell was booted out of L.A., and he's an all-star.
And you know, that's why, another segue, I'm looking at what the Lakers were just offering for Anthony Davis. And we remember when they threw out D'Angelo Russell with the trash. And look at what he's become. He's going to be an all-star this year. And I mean, you know, I'm not the biggest Ingram fan. And Ingram has a good game and then he has a lousy game. And I think there's something to be said with that. I think LeBron is hurting him more than helping him. But I don't know about throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Getting rid of these young guys before their maturity date.
Especially Kuzma.
Oh, Kuzma, see, you're not getting Kuzma.
I mean,
I can understand. They're saying you're not getting Anthony Davis without Kuzma.
Is Kuzma a Batman? No. Is he a Robin?
Nah.
No. But is he Batgirl?
Oh, Absolutely. He's the best damn Batgirl in the world. He's Batgirl and Wonder Woman.
If the Lakers never get Anthony Davis, but somehow get that second star, whether it's Butler, if it's just Butler, you're going to have a great Kuzma.
All right, let's play along with this scenario because the East is getting stronger.
Yes.
Okay.
At least the top.
The top. Okay, but I mean, I think there's going to be something to be said with that because Brooklyn is not at the top, but Brooklyn is playing some competitive basketball, and we just mentioned that. Indiana, how they're still doing it is, I mean, I really don't, huh?
Great coaching.
Great coaching.
Didn't make no trade.
None.
They did pick up Wes Matthews in the buyout, which will probably help out on the wing, but not a needle changer.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But well coached, man. And I said this last show that we did, my closing comments, that this is probably the best coaching that I've seen in the NBA, if not ever.
In a long time. And you know, so we see the Lakers giving up on someone, but I think the big thing here is you look at a D'Angelo Russell who is stepping in and playing lights out right now. You know, Kuzma, I would not give up on Kuzma. What do? The Lakers don't get Anthony Davis. They lose out on Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis now goes to the East, okay? And let's say that KD goes to the East. That's going to weaken the West. That's a good thing for LeBron.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good thing for LeBron. Right. He can go back on his, winning streak of, maybe going to Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. Because if he adds, let's say if he adds a Jimmy Butler and he keeps a Kuzma, because he doesn't, that's a formidable team. It's not. I don't think it's a championship winning team, but with the depletion going on in the West, that is going to make them one of the top tier teams in the West. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, what happens is that I would think a couple of things would have to happen. Clearly, I think that would be helpful for them to be. They would be a better team than this year. But I think they would have to re-sign Rondo, and even if it's a 1-year deal, and re-sign McGee. I think that McGee has benefited playing with LeBron and Rondo. I think that Ball has benefited from having a Rondo. And when I watch Rondo, I'm actually having a newfound respect for Rondo in LA. He seems like he is enjoying teaching these young guys and talking to him. I mean,
well, he funny thing, in New Orleans, teaching and mentoring, he enjoyed it in Chicago.
Right.
Because it was Butler and Wade that were complaining, and he got on them.
Right. And it's funny when you look at him because he's been labeled from time to time as a hothead, but he has a future in coaching.
Oh man, a bright future.
He's got a future in coaching. And Lonzo Ball, we talked about it. He's been playing his best ball as of late before the injury. So to your point, if they miss out on the top and Anthony Davis, and they settle for a Jimmy Butler, and they re-signed McGee and Rondo, and Kevin Durant went out east, the Lakers could make a run for the Western Conference Final.
They literally can.
I agree with that.
We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back, and we'll wrap it up. We'll be right back. Saw an interesting Netflix movie the other day that had to do with what we talk about here, basketball.
Yeah.
It was called High Flying Bird. Did you check that out?
Yeah, I did see it on Netflix, and I thought it was quite interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was made for $2 million. It was shot on an iPhone, okay? And sometimes the lighting was off, but the storyline telling about, really that agent was telling people, be empowered.
Yeah.
Don't be a slave.
Hey, kind of what LeVar Ball wants to do.
Not a bad little flick. If you're doing a Netflix and chill, check out High Flying Bird. I think you're going to really like it. We did.
It's the game above the game.
The game above the game. Word. Check it out. Deep Hoops highly recommends it. Peace. So, Rob, we were talking about winners and losers. Someone that's like kind of in purgatory. I mean, they didn't win, they didn't lose. They're just kind of like out there because they didn't do anything. It's the Boston Celtics. They didn't do anything.
Like they're in quicksand.
They're in quicksand. Now, maybe they'll be a part of the buyout market, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what do you think about Boston just standing pat? Are they good enough to just not do anything when Toronto got better, Philly got better? Indiana didn't do anything really, but they added Wes Matthews, you said. Milwaukee got better. So what are your thoughts on Boston?
It's funny because Boston is like the fan favorite for the number 1 seed going into the season, to start the season.
It was mine.
And it seems like teams below them or surrounding them has made moves throughout the season to better their squad. I mean, they come back with 2 players off an injury, and you think, well, they don't need to make no move. And truth be told, they don't need to make no move. But it's kind of scary when you're looking at Milwaukee. As I mentioned, Coach Bud was a great acquisition, and then they go get Mirotic. What Philly has done, Elton Brand, I mean, that could leapfrog them. And we didn't even get a chance to talk about Toronto picking up. We're going
to talk about that in a second,
So I don't think Boston was in a position to make a move.
Okay, so all right, I understand. But what move you don't make a move just to make a move. Is there a move, in your opinion, that was glaring that they could have done, should have done, would have improved them and positioned them better? Can you think of anything that they could have done?
No, I don't think there was anything.
So then standing pat was what they were supposed to do.
Right, but it's just unfortunate.
I'll tell you what was funny. Houston made some small deals, but they didn't really add much. And Maury was talking about, we're going to be big in the trading market.
Well, Houston didn't do anything that I think will make a difference going down the stretch. Matter of fact, they gave up a player in Ennis. But you know what? They did bring in Shumpert.
They did bring in
And
Shumpert.
Shumpert was playing very well in Sacramento. In fact, some players was a little disappointed that he did get traded because they thought that he was a good locker room presence. He was a young veteran. He was a veteran because he's been in the league longer than most of them. He's got a chip.
Been in finals, right?
He's got some playoff history, but then he was young enough where he can relate to him. You know,
Right.
he still could play video games with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
He wasn't on his way out.
Right. Get off my lawn.
Right. So
Right.
and whether he had something to do with it or not, he was playing well, final year contract, and Sacramento was playing well along with him. But Houston picks him up. He's a good wing defender. Occasionally he can hit the three. He can help out on a little ball handling. He'll probably finish strong in a D'Antoni system.
So we hit on Boston. Houston picked up Shumpert, but I have to think that they're not finished. And so we do have buyouts coming up. You talked about Wes Matthews. I think that was before we got on camera. You talked about Wes Matthews being part of a buyout with Indiana. What are some of the other moves, players that you predict will be bought out, and where do they go? I mean, you got Carmelo. Does he go to the Lakers?
Yeah, I think so because the Lakers did make one move that, well, actually
Yeah.
the Lakers made two moves that I'm questioning.
And I know the one.
They brought in Reggie Bullock for the guy I can't pronounce his name. He may have been Russian or something.
Right,
like that.
the big boy.
Not the big guy,
Oh.
the wing, and he could shoot the
Oh,
jump
right,
shot.
right, okay.
I think he's better than Bullock.
Right.
And then the head scratcher, trading Zubiak for Zubiak and Michael Beasley for Muscala, and I know what that's for. It freed up a roster spot to bring in Carmelo, but I would have traded Chandler before Zubiak. I thought Zubiak. I mean, Clippers is like, thank you.
And we got a nice one.
Yeah, I mean,
And he contributed immediately.
they immediately released Marcin Gortat and Michael Beasley. Zubiak he's going to be a player, man. And Doc Rivers is going to get a hold of him. You know, Houston didn't get involved in Wes Matthews, and Wayne Ellington, the sharpshooter that Miami traded to Phoenix, that Phoenix let go, he went and signed with Detroit.
So he did sign already.
Yeah, he signed with Detroit. So I'm not sure what Houston is doing. Maybe they think they have enough. I'm not sure. But there's a team I want to talk about that had a sneaky move. And maybe you might want to hit on it as well. But I love what Sacramento Kings did. I really do. I think that their moves can solidify what I've been saying all along. Could keep the Lakers out of the playoffs.
So talk about it.
They traded Shumpert in a 3-team trade that netted them Alec Burke from Cleveland. But more importantly, they traded Justin Jackson out of North Carolina that, in my mind, wasn't doing enough. And they traded Zach Randolph in the same package to Dallas and got Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes, right.
All right, now, the last time we was on the air, I mentioned Marc Gasol because they needed a quality veteran. Well, to me, they got an even better player than Shumpert, and they can fill the same role as Shumpert because this is another guy that's battle-tested, won a championship. He fills a role. He plays a solid 3 where Shumpert was small at the 3. He's a wing, 3-and-D wing. This is a perfect fit, and also he won't get in the way of the growth of De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. I think that this move here, by getting Harrison Barnes, may solidify Sacramento getting the 8th spot, and they already said they're not looking at the 8th spot. They're looking at number 7.
Well, I mean, I think the Clippers are going to slide as well.
Well, that's the one team that's coming out that has 2 teams vying for it, and that's Sacramento.
But
and Lakers.
who's number 7 right now?
It could be anybody from San Antonio to Utah. I don't think they will slide out. Neither one of them is going to slide.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. My whole thing is I cannot see a team, East or West, with LeBron James on it and not make the playoffs.
Well, I want you to look at something because it happened today and it happened in the Indiana game. There's been footage of LeBron sitting at the end of the bench with 3 empty chairs between him and the rest of the players. There's a disconnect there.
Well, there's a definite disconnect. And, here's the funny thing. The LeBron circus, you have to ask, is it worth it? Now, he's putting fannies in the seats, but the Lakers put fannies in the seats no matter what.
Anyway.
So, as Kobe says, the Lakers is championships or bust. And I don't know that with Magic, LeBron, and the toxic environment that they set, which is going to be another part 2 of my closing comments, I don't know. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think that they're setting themselves up. We know that they're not going to win this year. I don't think that they've done anything to set themselves up moving forward. And that's what it was supposed to be about. You've alienated the people today. If you don't get rid of them, you're going to have to bring them back into the fold. If you don't get an Anthony Davis, like we said, why don't you build like Golden State instead of trying to be instant build? Golden State built that franchise over time. I know you say with LeBron he doesn't have time. If you give it 2 years, your last 2 seasons under your contract, you should be solid and win titles.
I don't dispute with you. I think that the Lakers have a nice young
nucleus. Yes.
I mean, I'll go on record and say they should trade LeBron. Here's the thing. They have a nice young nucleus.
But think of it this way. You say that in jest, but they're players that are going to be free agents that would want to possibly come to Lakers, like Kawhi, but won't come because LeBron is there.
And let me ask you this, and I know this is, Deep Hoop fans out there, this is totally off the top of the head here. No discussion. When you look at the All-Star selection and draft, and LeBron drafted pretty much the free agent squad. I mean, if you're a player of his, a teammate of his right now, how do you perceive that? How do you receive that?
You do what Kuzma did today. F you, LeBron. I'm getting mine.
But is that conducive for the team?
No. But what LeBron is doing is not conducive for the team. I mean, he is really destroying the morale. But Magic, you're the president. I don't care who LeBron is. You've got to take a stance. I said it last week like Pat Riley and said, yo, man, I'm the president. You're the player. Go play.
Durant, free agent. Kyrie Irving, free agent. Kawhi Leonard, free agent. Klay Thompson, free agent.
They would all come to LA.
Anthony Davis wants out, and LeBron picks all these players.
But here's the funny thing. Only maybe 1 or 2 would really want to play with LeBron. So LeBron is like, maybe I can fix it during the All-Star game, and they see me diming them up. They'll want to come play with me. Yo, dude, man. Come on, man. Hey, what did Kevin Durant say? Grow up.
Oh, man.
We got a lot, but did you see Kevin Durant?
I did see that.
Grow up. Buyouts. What do you think on the buyouts? Is there anything?
Yeah, like I mentioned moments ago, I can see Melo maybe signing on with the Lakers. Enes Kanter's out there.
Where do you see him going?
I said something. See him going to the Celtics with Baines out and with a broken thumb or something like that, I believe it is. That'd be a perfect fit.
That would be a perfect fit, yeah.
Michael Beasley is out there. I think he could still help somebody.
Who do you see Michael Beasley helping?
You know what? Toronto gave up 3 players to get Marc Gasol. They might be short on the roster. I wouldn't be surprised if they go after him. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston might give him a look. One thing he can do is score the basketball.
Well, Houston would be then that would be the place because, listen, D'Antoni cares about scoring and scoring only.
Yeah.
Defensive assignments will make up for that. He's not a bad defender, but he's not a great defender. So we'll see.
Golden State was hoping that New York buy out DeAndre Jordan. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that's not
I think
gonna
DeAndre Jordan is going to be there next year. Keep an eye on Robin Lopez. He might be a fit for Golden State.
Golden State, wow.
He might be a fit for Golden State.
I just, David Stern. Ooh, Adam Silver has to step in and say, Golden State, y'all are banned from doing anything. Y'all can't do a damn thing. We like Robin Hood. We're going to steal from the rich and give to the poor. You can't get any richer, man.
I mean, but they're just smart.
Listen, I ain't hating.
And Cousins came to them.
I'm not hating, but I can't see them get no one else. I can't see them picking up anyone else. No one, period. They can't, man.
Maybe Melo. That would be over.
I want to see Melo go somewhere where he can really run.
I don't want to see him with LA.
Who do you want to see him with?
I think Melo would probably be a better fit with someone like San Antonio.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Where, again, I think that in LA, they would look for him to just stand around the three-point line. And that's really not his game. He needs to be where
I hope they would stay away from having him play that, relegating him to what Houston tried to do with him, to what OKC tried to do with him. I'm hoping that they will do something a little more creative. But then again, if you're going to play with LeBron, you have to be able to just post up and shoot threes.
Yeah, so we're going to see what happens. But, someone mentioned, is Anthony Davis really a good fit for LeBron?
Yes.
The funny thing about it,
he's about the best fit.
The funny thing about it is that players like that play power forward. LeBron likes him to go out on the three-point line.
I think I've been saying this, and I could be wrong. I think LeBron is going to switch a little bit. Anthony Davis is a young enough superstar, that he cannot shrink his game. Exactly. He's got to let him be who he is.
He's got to let him be who he is.
And I think the reason I think he's good for Anthony Davis, check this out. I never thought I would say this. He's going to teach Anthony Davis how to win. Anthony Davis, as talented as he is, he's never taken his team beyond the first round, right?
Well,
I mean, he's going to the second round.
He's in the West.
That's not an argument.
And
I'm sorry.
Never had enough.
That's that. You know what? You listen.
He's never had enough.
He's only made it to the playoffs twice.
He's made it to the playoffs twice, and he's an injury-prone dude too.
But see, all of those things, he's going to need LeBron, even if it's just from the workout. LeBron at 39 years, whatever he is, he didn't get hurt really for the first time until this season.
Yeah. And to your point, Rondo did make a difference in New Orleans.
Yes.
I mean, when Cousins went down, I was like, oh, there it is. But they went on the road and swept Portland in the first round.
I have a question that we didn't talk about. It's not on the list that I need your advice on. DeMarcus Cousins. I had heard when they signed him that there was no way that they would be able to re-sign him in the offseason.
No, it's not true. What happens when you sign for one of those, I'm not sure if it's a mid-level exemption or the one that's below that. It's the one below that, the biannual exemption.
Okay.
What happens is that that's $5 million. When a team signs a player for that, they can re-sign him, but they can only re-sign him at a very small percentage increase of that. So if he says, you know what, I like it here, I'm staying here, Golden State can only offer him like $6.5 million.
Oh, so okay. So for all intents and purposes,
right.
He's not staying.
So maybe he does 1 year, and then he can get the big bucks.
From them?
From them, yes.
So they can resign him to another minimal contract, and then after that, he will be eligible for, okay.
Right, exactly.
Because that's another person that's going to be out on the market this summer.
He will be out on the market if he says.
And no one is talking about him.
Well, here's the thing. I mean,
and that was a destination for the Lakers for the longest.
The guy is averaging 22 minutes and putting up 15 points a game.
I mean, you know.
I mean, and showing really no signs of the injury. He's showing more signs of just not being in shape. But he's not showing.
Could you see him going to the Lakers next year?
Yes or no.
And you know, we didn't practice this or talk about this, prepare for it. Where do you see him going, other than at Golden State next season, that he can I mean, he's going to make a difference anywhere, but make them a legitimate finals contender. Legitimate. East or West? Can you see him and LaMarcus Aldridge playing together in San Antonio?
Nah. But I tell you where I can see him go. He would look very good in Brooklyn. He'll fit the Brooklyn attitude. I know Jared Allen is like one of them shot blocking centers or whatever, but you're not really. He's a Tyson Chandler that don't give you points or whatever. And to DeMarcus Cousins' credit, he's more comfortable playing power forward anyway, so he could play alongside of them. And you get him there for maybe 20 mil, and as I talked about, they can get a max player and like a mid-max, 50% of a max player, 60%. Give DeMarcus Cousins 20 mil, get somebody over there for 30 mil. That's a good look for Brooklyn.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap it up. Did you get out on what you wanted to say about Marc Gasol making a difference?
Personally, I think Toronto got the best player in the deal, and they probably got the better of the deal. But I don't see it as a needle mover. I really don't. I don't think that Marc Gasol at this point is that much of an upgrade than Valanciunas. I think they will trust him more than Valanciunas, but their better lineup is a small lineup, and I just don't know if that's going to be a big enough factor. And on top of that, I don't see him opting out of his contract. He's getting $25 million next year. I don't see him opting out. So are they using that as a chip to keep Kawhi here? Because I really think for guys like Kawhi, guys like Kyrie, it's the finals or they out. Mm-hmm. I really believe so. So I
don't know. I think it's hard to say. It is hard to predict with Kawhi what it is. I mean, we can assume, we can make the best assumption, but that dude is such an anomaly. We don't know, is it finals or bust? I mean, has he said or done anything that made you feel that?
He hasn't said anything. The media is not pushing questions or pumping answers out of him like they do Durant. But my thing is this: he's had a taste of winning. Can they actually keep him if they don't reach the Eastern Conference Final?
Well, I know one thing.
Can they actually keep him if they don't get to the final?
There was a fan in the stadium in Toronto, flew up to the Cole to try to woo him and didn't say anything to him. Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, they said was seen at a Toronto game watching Kawhi. Didn't say anything to him because there's no tampering. But to let the player know, the owner of another team flew all the way out here to let you know we're interested in you. I don't have to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, and that same owner was at the Detroit Clippers game too on the road. So I don't know if he's just traveling with the team. I don't know if he was in Detroit to try to make amends with Blake Griffin, because when Blake Griffin was in L.A., they showed a scene where he was trying to get Blake Griffin's attention, and Blake Griffin ran off the court and into the locker room. I mean, literally looked at him and ran straight into the locker room, and he was coming over to try to shake his hand and address him. So I don't know if he went to Detroit to make
amends. I'll tell you right now, a billionaire come to shake my hand, I'm going to shake it.
Well, this is the same guy that says that you're going to be a lifer here, we're going to hang up your jersey, retire it, and then trade you months later.
But you know what? Did Steve Ballmer okayed the trade, but did he trade him?
Did he trade him?
He okayed the trade.
He okayed the trade. Jerry West.
Yeah, Jerry
He
West.
signed off
So,
on the trade.
all right.
So
We need to wrap it up. Let's do a recap on the recap of our predictions. We recapped it, but after the trades, we have to look at it again. See, I'm not one of those guys that say, well, I said it at the beginning of the season. Stuff changes.
things do change.
And so I don't need to be held accountable because I said Boston was going to win the title, and they haven't done anything, and everybody around them. So what are your predictions? Has anything changed?
Yes, some things have changed. Nothing has changed for me out west. I still stand by whatever I said out west. Okay? In the East, last week, right on this set, I said to you that I don't think Philly can win a Game 7, and I don't think they could go to an Eastern Conference Finals. That has changed now. I think.
Well, you did say it's currently constructed. They're not that same team.
They're not the same team. Does this mean that they're instantly in the finals or the Eastern Conference Final? No, I'm not saying that. But being that they are going to probably be the 4th or the 3rd seed, in order to get to the conference finals, they're going to have to be able to win a Game 7.
How far are they behind Milwaukee right now?
They're not catching Milwaukee. Right now, I think Philly is 4th. Indiana is still 3rd. Boston is 5th. I still think Indiana is going to fall. But I don't know if Philly will catch Toronto or Milwaukee. But if Philly gets to the number 1 spot, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. For sure. If they get to the number 1 spot, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
If Butler cannot be a but allow himself to be a part of the team and not be a disruptor, Philly's making it to the East Coast Finals.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I
wouldn't be surprised.
So things have changed. I don't know where Boston is. I don't know what Boston is doing. Yeah. I don't even know what's the coach's name again? Brad
Stevens.
I don't even know what Brad is doing. I think he's lost his mojo a little bit. Trying to work with these, balance. It's one thing when you have one star and everybody else is hustling and trying. Now you have to appease so many people. It makes coaching a lot harder.
It makes it a little bit different.
It makes coaching a lot harder. All right, we've got to cut it. It's time for our closing comments. Ra, you said that I would be waiting. I think they have some popcorn. Bring it for me.
Well, my closing comments is, I'm just going to get to it. We talked about the success of Philly with their trades. And Elton Brand coming out there and looking like someone who's been doing this for a while. I mean, if this is an indication of what Elton Brand is going to be as a GM, his future in this part of the NBA world is going to be huge. But when I take this and look at another historical team in the NBA, and they're about 2,000 miles away, and I have to go to the Staples Center and piggyback off of what my co-host here talked about last week of Magic Johnson, I can't believe I'm going here with this, but I'm going to go there with it. Magic Johnson is treading on a slippery slope. He's either, in my eyes, it's going to be one way or the other. He's going to be a failure as a person who's in charge, or he's going to look like a genius. When you put out this Godfather package of 6 players for Anthony Davis, knowing in your heart that this team was not going to do anything to help the Los Angeles Lakers, because as long as I can remember and watching the NBA, there's only been one Western Conference team that's ever helped the Lakers, and that was when Jerry West was at the helm of Memphis and traded Paul Gasol. Outside of that, they get no help. But when you put these 6 players and 2 draft picks on the line and possibly disrupt your chemistry for the remainder of the season, and your goal is to win, and then you don't fulfill that trade, and now you have to mend the team back together, and you're dealing with a bunch of millenniums who They're not like our age group that understands and respect authority. As far as they're concerned, they are the authority. You are treading on a slippery slope. On top of that, as this season has unfolded with its drama-filled season, their ups and downs, their winning streaks, their losing streaks, you never got ahead of the story. You always let the story get ahead of you. My co-host talks about how Luke Walton should never be in a conversation of being fired. I said it before the season started. I didn't expect him to be last through the All-Star break. I said he would be one of the first coaches fired. And I still stand by that because I said it. And it's still possible, Magic, because you don't get ahead of the story. You allow the story to remain ahead of you. Where is your presence in the media to say Luke is our guy going forward? Or prevent some of the stories coming out of the camps of LeBron James? I have to watch on another show Mr. LeVar Ball refer to you, Magic Johnson, the great Magic Johnson, a puppet. How true it is or not, those are words that should never be said. But the reason why they said is because action speaks louder than words. Magic, where are you? Where is your presence? You're the great Magic Johnson. Some think you're the greatest Laker to ever play. Where's your presence? Get in front of the story. This is on you, Magic.
Well, I have to do a remix because look what I have here. So I'll do a remix, but excellent closing comments. Excellent closing comments. I was going to talk about Magic as well. I was going to couple LeBron in there because of the circus called the LeBron James Circus, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to end on a high note today. I said during the show, for the first time this season, from the tip-off to the close of the buzzer, watched the Milwaukee Bucks for the first time end to end. I've watched a lot of their games and, moved around, but I haven't watched them end to end. And I'm going to tell you, I was impressed. But it's not that I'm just impressed with the team, Milwaukee. I'm not just impressed with the Greek Freak. I'm not just impressed with Lopez. You know what I'm impressed with? Coach Budenholzer. We talked about coaching this season. When we do that, Kenny Atkinson, and we just talked about Brad Stevens, and in coaching. What's my man's name in Indiana? I always forget his name. Nate McMillan. But what Coach Budenholzer is doing, Milwaukee is playing that great of basketball. Barring an injury, Milwaukee could represent, and I didn't see this coming into the season. And so me and my godson Beefy talk about who is the MVP of the league. And he says everybody is just in this recent thing, the present moment with Harden. What Harden is doing cannot be denied. And I'll tell you this, what the Greek Freak is doing is awesome. But you don't give an MVP to the coach. But if you could give the MVP to the coach, Budenholzer would get it.
Coach of the year?
Coach of the year, no doubt about it. I'd like to give him the MVP too. Coach, you're doing a damn good job. We miss you here in Atlanta. Hey, listen, Rob, we did another great one. We have an APB out. I think I got a text while we were doing the show that they saw Tim. There was a mugshot, though. They saw him with a mugshot, which is not the way we want to see Tim, man. Yo, Tim, man, come on, man. Get it together, man. Get back here, man. Yo, for Deep Hoops, remember, like us on Facebook. Share, like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube.
Share us. Hit us on our Twitter down here. Spread the word. Give us comments. Give us questions. We want to hear from you.
Because we love what we do. We're the Deep Hoops guys. I am the Minister.
And I'm Rob.
And we'd like to thank you for being a part of this episode of Deep Hoops. And we will talk to you the next time. Peace.
Peace and blessings.